On our wedding day, my fiancé vanished without a trace. Left with no choice, I had to marry his elder brother, Wen in his stead. After the wedding, we maintained a polite, distant relationship. My mother-in-law pressed us, insisting it was time to have a child. Just as we discussed consummating the marriage, my long-lost fiancé suddenly reappeared after over 3 months of absence. Wen Yanchuan clasped my waist tightly, gazing down at Wen Qingyan, whose eyes brimmed with joy. "Yan, come pay your respects to your elder sister-in-law." On the wedding day, my fiancé vanished without a trace, sending only a handwritten letter via a servant. "Jingyan, Xiao Xiao is to be sold as a concubine to a 50-year-old widower. Do you know that man has beaten 3 concubines to death, their deaths gruesome? I cannot bear to see her suffer. Today we marry, but I had no choice but to have a rooster stand in for me at the ceremony. Wait for me. I'll retrieve her and come find you. You alone will be my legitimate wife. Rest assured." I found it laughable and crumpled the letter into a ball. Qingxi's face turned pale, her voice trembling with suppressed tears. "Miss, the auspicious hour has passed, yet the wedding procession is nowhere to be seen. What is the Wen household doing?" I calmed myself. If I failed to marry into the Wen family today, my father would surely torment my mother. Closing my eyes, I steeled my resolve. What did it matter if I was mocked for marrying a rooster? Outside, a maid rushed in, shouting, "Miss, the wedding procession has arrived." I was puzzled. Wen Qingyan had clearly abandoned me to chase after Chu Xiao. How could they still come? Qingxi gripped my hand tightly. "It's the eldest son of the Wen family, just returned from handling a case in Qingzhou. He's marrying on behalf of the second son." His name slowly surfaced in my mind, Wen Yanchuan, Junior Minister of the Supreme Court of Justice. It seemed we'd never crossed paths before. Until a cool, large hand grasped mine, jolting me back to reality. He chuckled softly, the thin calluses on his fingertips tickling my palm. After climbing into the bridal sedan chair, Chu Xiaoxiao's face flashed through my mind, gentle and timid, so pitiable even to me. "Sister Jingyan, how about we both serve Lord Yan together from now on? I'll be content as a concubine and won't interfere with your relationship." I stared blankly at her, tears streaming down her face, a rather clumsy performance. Yet when Qingyan fell for it completely. He comforted her tenderly. "Jingyan is always so magnanimous. She'll surely welcome you. Don't cry, don't cry." I suddenly smiled, vaguely recalling the spring banquet where I'd closed my eyes in feigned sleep, and Chu Xiaoxiao deliberately stumbled into Wen Qingyan's arms right before my eyes. "My dear Wen, our wedding is imminent. What if Sister Jingyan can't bear my presence and humiliates me in the future?" With that, she began to sob softly again. "Before the wedding, I'll teach her a lesson. I'll make sure she knows her place, that you hold a special place in my heart, and she won't dare to torment you." Chu Xiaoxiao giggled coquettishly. "Oh my, what did you eat? Your words are so sweet, let me taste them." The palanquin descended, and my thoughts snapped back. A strange ache pierced my heart. So he deliberately abandoned the wedding for Chu Xiaoxiao? Just to make me understand my place later. I gave a bitter smile, mechanically completing the wedding rites with Wen Yanchuan before returning to the bridal chamber. Qingxi stayed by my side, offering a small pastry. "Miss, have a bite to tide you over." Starved for a day, my stomach ached faintly. I took the pastry, but just as I was about to eat it, I noticed the pattern imprinted on it, a segment of bamboo. It was a pastry made by Chu Xiaoxiao herself. She said this way, my husband would know I care for him, and he could remember me anytime, anywhere. A wave of nausea washed over me. "Where did this pastry come from?" Qingxi murmured softly. "The second young master's personal maid just delivered it." I had no idea Chu Xiaoxiao had such a close relationship with Wen Qingyan's senior maid. "Throw them all away. Get new ones." After a long while, I ate some of the pastries and my stomach finally settled. I lifted my veil without a second thought. Time to wash up. Wen Qingyan isn't here, so there's no need for the wedding night. The next moment, the door pushed open. Wen Yanchuan strode toward me with deliberate steps. My heart skipped a beat, an inexplicable dread washing over me. "Brother. Elder brother?" His cheeks were flushed, clearly having drunk heavily. His piercing black and white eyes glistened with a hint of moisture, utterly devoid of his usual cold demeanor. "Just call me Yanchuan." I froze for a moment. The neighbors all say he's ruthless, killing without batting an eye. Back then, to retrieve a letter of evidence swallowed by a prisoner, he cut open the man's belly to pull out the blood-soaked paper. Then, without flinching, he stepped over the corpse. Yanchuan? A barely perceptible curve touched his lips. "Tonight, you may sleep in the bed. I shall rest on the daybed." I hesitated, about to protest the unfairness, but our eyes met. My mouth felt sealed shut, unable to speak. When Yanchuan walked out without another word. After bathing, I returned to find him already resting on the daybed. I dared not disturb him, tiptoeing instead to climb onto the bed and sleep. Upon waking, my lips ached inexplicably, as if a scab had formed over a broken skin. After returning from paying respects, my mother-in-law handed me several ledgers, instructing me to study them under the matron's guidance. I would soon be responsible for managing the household finances. I couldn't pinpoint what felt off. Qingxi ground ink beside me, muttering incessantly, "This morning I saw the eldest young master accompany you to pay respects." My heart finally settled. I feared he might be as unreliable as the second young master. Mentioning Wen Qingyan, I casually asked, "Any news?" Just as Qingxi was about to shake her head, Wen Qingyan's servant delivered a letter. It was sent back by the second young master. I took it, tore it open, and read, "Jingyan, you are the legitimate wife. Someone as timid as Xiao Xiao poses no threat to your position and would never scheme against you. Can you please stop forcing her to marry a widower? She will die. You know Xiao Xiao is frail and sickly, yet you still push her into marriage. What are your true intentions? If she dies, you will secretly rejoice. How could you be so cruel? In time, I shall bring Xiao Xiao back and take her as my noble concubine. If you cannot bear her presence, you may request to retreat to Qingfeng Temple to eat vegetarian meals and chant sutras." I watched the letter burn inch by inch, its flickering light casting shadows across my face, filled with utter disappointment in him. Qingfeng Temple is perpetually snowbound, staying there would likely cost me half my life. Yet for Chu Xiao Xiao, he cares not a whit for my survival. I wiped away tears, blinked, and stared blankly at the ashes. Last year at the chrysanthemum banquet, when Qingyan and I had been betrothed for less than 3 months. The noble ladies there all congratulated me on finding such a fine husband. Second young Master Wen, a gentleman of rare grace and beauty, among the most handsome in the capital. He passed the provincial exams at 19, with a future as bright as the stars. "Jingyan, you are truly blessed." The surrounding ladies shot me envious, jealous glances. I blushed shyly and thanked them. When Qingyan stood not far away, chatting and laughing with a lively young lady by his side. Wanting to escape the comparisons, I walked alone to the bridge to admire the scenery. I was the only one on the bridge until Chu Xiao Xiao appeared beside me, covering her mouth with a handkerchief as she coughed weakly. "Miss Cui, what a clever move, forcing young Master Wen to betroth himself to you and marry you as his primary wife." I froze, unsure what Chu Xiao Xiao meant. A flash of malice crossed her eyes. With a shriek, she plunged into the pond right before my eyes. September brought autumn, and the lake water was bone-chillingly cold. Chu Xiao Xiao broke down, wailing and flailing in the water. Wen Qingyan, save me!" My mind went blank, I hadn't pushed her. Suddenly, Wen Qingyan shoved me hard. My head slammed against the railing, blood spurting out and staining my hands. He stared at me with utter disgust. "Cui Jingyan, have you lost your mind? You haven't even married into the Wen family yet, and you're already attacking my people?" Then he plunged into the pool, pulled Chu Xiao Xiao up, and carried her ashore. Hostile glances kept fixing on me. How vicious, bullying someone before you're even married in. Yeah, everyone knows Chu Xiao Xiao, the Chu family's illegitimate daughter, has been Wen Qingyan's shadow since childhood. Probably just jealous. How ridiculous, daring to lay a hand on the man she loves. My whole body went cold. When Qingyan grabbed my wrist and apologized to Chu Xiao Xiao. "Apologize to Xiao Xiao, and I'll forgive you." I felt like thorns piercing my back, clutching my bleeding wound. Qiu Xiaoxiao nestled tightly in his embrace, looking pitifully helpless. I don't need Miss Chui's apology. I only hope Miss Chui won't push me into the lake again next time. I'm frail and sickly, I could die. In an instant, more malicious stares fixed on me. Is she even human? The noble ladies who had just offered congratulations burst into laughter, seemingly mocking my unreasonable behavior. Hearing the whispers, I fled in disarray. The scar from that forehead wound has remained ever since, still visible today. Later, clutching my wound, I begged my father to annul the engagement. Father, I must annul the engagement with the Wen family. Kneeling on the ground, I looked utterly wretched. My father merely scrutinized me coldly, then finally snorted. Now that your reputation for jealousy is out, who would dare take you? Cui Jingnian, can't you control your impulsiveness? That Qiu Xiaoxiao is merely a concubine. Did you really need to take matters into your own hands? Marrying into the Wen family is your fortune. As long as they don't demand annulment, our Cui family won't withdraw either. Give up that notion. My strength drained instantly. So father believed I had pushed Qiu Xiaoxiao too. Enough. Go to the ancestral hall immediately for reflection. You're not to return for 2 full months, consider it your apology to the Wen family. Attendance! The eldest daughter is unwell and requires quiet recuperation at the ancestral hall. Escort her there at once. I wailed and clung to my father's sleeve, demanding the engagement be broken. He yanked his sleeve away viciously. Don't blame me for being heartless. If you refuse to reflect, I'll stop your mother's medicine. My mother clung to life only through those medicines. I couldn't let her die because of me. My younger sister was still so young, she couldn't lose her mother. I fell silent, learning to endure, and obediently went to the ancestral hall to face my punishment. Wiping away my tears, I turned and saw Wen Yanchuan standing there, shifting back a step, looking somewhat uneasy. I'm sorry. He paused, then walked over to my side. I just learned some news about Qing Yan and wanted to tell you. Are you free now? I shook my head, then nodded. He suddenly laughed, sounding somewhat resigned. You were crying? No. Let's talk in the bedroom. There are too many people here. I followed him back to the bedroom but stopped him before he could share the news about Wen Qingyan. I've already received the letter. I don't need it now. He took out a jade bracelet and slipped it onto my wrist. It's beautiful. Do you like it? I examined it closely. It was the Chushio Pavilion jade bracelet I'd longed for so deeply. Back then, when Qingyan had noticed my desire for it and whispered softly, once I receive my salary, I'll buy it for you. The very next day, I heard that when Qingyan had pawned several of his private residences to buy antiques and paintings for Qiu Xiaoxiao, just to make her happy. He even declared, whatever Xiaoxiao wants, I will buy for her. In that moment, I realized clearly that I was nothing but a dispensable presence in Wen Qingyan's heart. I touched the bracelet and laughed aloud. Thank you. It's beautiful. As I lowered my head to examine the bracelet, a flash of blue caught my eye, a strangely familiar sight. I followed the blue gaze and saw the jade pendant hanging from Wen Yanchuan's waist, engraved with a small fish. My heart skipped a beat. That jade pendant seemed to belong to me. I looked up at him directly, but his eyes held no other emotion. Perhaps he hadn't recognized me. Back then, I was sent to the ancestral home's shrine for reflection. Only an old woman guarded the shrine. Each day, I swept the hall, offered incense, and cleared the ashes. The old woman was mute. We communicated through sign language, which I could only vaguely understand. No one else spoke to me. Every night, I lit candles and stayed alone in the shrine. The shrine sat at the mountain's base, where eerie sounds often echoed from the heights. I'd huddle in a corner, frozen with fear, daring not to move. Until one day, 2 drunken men burst in, their lecherous eyes fixated on me. This chick's hot. Grab her. I sprinted into the mountains with every ounce of strength, the 2 men hot on my heels. See how long you can run. I tripped over a rock and fell to the ground. They laughed as they charged toward me, grabbing my legs and violently tearing at my clothes. In utter despair, I gave up struggling and resigned myself to death. Suddenly, a sword pierced through one of the drunks, his face still frozen in a look of excitement before death. I gathered my torn clothes and thanked him with a trembling voice. "Thank you, my savior." My clothes were in tatters, my hair disheveled like a ghost's, tears streaming down my face. He wore a mask as he helped me up. I handed him the jade pendant I wore close to my heart, deeply grateful. This life-saving favor I shall never forget. He took the pendant and turned to leave. Suddenly, I realized my ankle was sprained. The pain made walking impossible, so I pleaded again, "Could you carry me down the mountain?" I sprained my ankle. He gave a cold hom and hoisted me onto his back. Resting against his back, moonlight spilled across his neck. I thought I saw a small red mole. Watching Wen Yanchuan, my mood lifted instantly. So he was my savior. On the day after tomorrow, I'll return to my parents' home. I've taken leave and will go with you. I stood frozen in place, murmuring a quiet On the day of my return visit, I dressed early, wearing the bracelet Wen Yanchuan had given me, and accompanied him back to the Chui residence. My father, expecting me to return alone, did not come out to greet me. Only upon hearing Wen Yanchuan had come with me did he shuffle over in his slippers. "Minister Wen, what brings you here?" Before Wen Yanchuan could speak, my half-sister Cui Jingsui sneered, "He's probably escorting the eldest miss back. After all, her fiancé abandoned her on their wedding day, what a disgrace." My palms clenched, and Wen Yanchuan swiftly grasped my hand. "Father-in-law," I accompanied the lady back to visit. "After all, she will soon manage the entire Wen household and keep the kitchen, which will be quite demanding." My father paused, then immediately put on a flattering smile. "My dear son-in-law, please come to the study. Since Jingyan has returned, go see your mother first. Her health has been poor lately." My heart tightened, and I ran to my mother's courtyard. My younger sister was by her side, administering medicine. "Mother!" My nose stung, and tears streamed down my face. Mother lay on the bed, gaunt and frail. Her eyes brightened when she saw me enter. "Jingyan is back. Let mother get a good look at you." I clasped her cold hand tightly. My sister embraced me. "It's all mother's fault for holding you back. If not, you wouldn't have been treated so badly. If only we hadn't arranged that betrothal back then." My breath caught for a moment. Suddenly, I recalled our first meeting at the Lantern Festival. He challenged me to a poetry contest, and in the end, he won, taking the lantern. I'd been captivated by his talent. Later, when I went to the temple to pray for my mother's health, when Qing Yan happened to overhear, he invited a wandering physician from Jiangnan to examine her. That Jiangnan doctor had long been untraceable, who knows how much effort he expended. My gratitude grew immeasurable, and my feelings for him deepened day by day. For my mother's illness, he even copied Buddhist scriptures in his own blood before handing them to me. "Place it in the temple for worship, and she'll recover soon. Jingyan, don't worry too much, you still have me." Later, he personally came to propose marriage, and I agreed with my own mouth. At that time, I didn't know he had a beloved Kuziaxio, yet I thought of him day and night. When I was sent to the ancestral home to reflect, he secretly came to see me. "Jingyan, I acted impulsively, but you mustn't harm Xiao Xiao. She..." "Never mind. Don't mention her. I've sent clothes and pastries, you surely go hungry and cold here. I've also left 2 secret guards to protect you. You'll be safe." I felt both love and resentment toward him, continuing to pursue him for a long time until he fled on our wedding day. An indescribable emotion spread through my heart. I gradually understood that he truly loved Xu Xiaoxiao more than me, and she had achieved her goal, making me see my place. Snapping back to reality, I said, "It's fine, mother. I'm perfectly well." Suddenly, a maid threw herself at my feet, trembling uncontrollably. "What's wrong?" Her face streaked with tears. It was Amber, the maid from my quarters. "Mistress. Mistress." I motioned her outside. Amber remained kneeling. "Miss, I have wronged you. When the young master was drunk, he mistook me for you and took me. I dared not speak up. Please punish me, miss." My vision spun, and I laughed bitterly, giving up on Wen Qingyan completely. So, do you wish to become a concubine, or? She kept her head bowed, muttering, your servant. Your servant. I cut her off, understanding her meaning. After all, a concubine is still a mistress, no longer a servant. In that case, when Wen Qingyan returns, I shall elevate you to concubine. And remember, the man I married is his elder brother. From now on, your master is Wen Yanchuan. Understood? I steadied myself and glanced up to see Wen Yanchuan standing nearby. You. Why are you here? Had he overheard? My heart skipped a beat. A gentle smile touched his lips. To visit my mother-in-law. I heard of your illness and sent for Imperial Physician Chen. That wandering physician from Jiangnan once mentioned this illness. Dr. Chen treated an imperial consort for it in his middle years. He might be able to help. I've exhausted every connection, yet no one would assist me. Even when Qingyan lacks such influence. I never imagined he would. When Yanchuan took my hand and whispered softly, let's go together. Don't worry about Physician Chen, he's my maternal grandfather. A string snapped in my mind. So that's how it was. That night, he stayed in my boudoir. After bathing, when Yanchuan seemed ready to retire to the study, I stopped him. Sleep with me tonight. His ears flushed crimson. All right. I shifted deeper into the bed, and the other side promptly caved in. His scent filled my breaths, making my heart race inexplicably. Thank you, Wen Yanchuan. A low chuckle escaped his throat, leaving me utterly baffled. What are you thanking me for? We are husband and wife. We share in each other's fortunes and misfortunes. This time, I didn't argue. In fact, it made perfect sense. After returning to the Wen residence, Wen Qingyan continued sending letters, but I didn't glance at a single one. I instructed Qingxi to burn any future correspondence from him. I told my mother-in-law about Amber, and she promptly arranged for her to stay in Wen Qingyan's quarters. I continued learning to read the ledgers with my mother-in-law. 3 months passed in a flash. My mother's illness gradually improved, and Wen Yanchuan and I grew increasingly familiar, occasionally exchanging kisses on the cheek. Today, I was again learning to read ledgers with my mother-in-law. She glanced at me several times. I couldn't help but ask, Mother, is something troubling you? She dismissed the servants, took my hand, and said, Tell your mother the truth. Is it that your husband isn't capable? Why has there been no sign after 3 months? My cheeks burned as I stammered, actually, we haven't consummated our marriage. My mother-in-law looked stunned, then paused before saying, It's not that I'm pressuring you. I just want a grandson. You two should try harder? I gave a shy smile. Mother-in-law must have spoken with Wen Yanchuan. I noticed his unease, yet when his gaze finally landed on me, it burned hotter than ever. Wen Yanchuan. Yan, I know Mother wants a grandson. If you're unwilling, I'll go. No need. Let's consummate our marriage. After saying this, blood rushed to my cheeks, and I suddenly felt a wave of heat. He hesitated for a moment before speaking slowly, then tonight we'll consummate it. I lowered my head in shame. All right. Qingxi finished tidying up early and handed me a volume of fire-avoiding diagrams. Miss, take a look quickly. A glance at the bold poses and movements flushed me crimson. When I returned to the bedchamber, Wen Yanchuan's gaze burned intensely upon me. Sleep. All candles within the room were extinguished. I felt Wen Yanchuan's hand on my waist, his hoarse breaths brushing my ear. If it hurts, tell me. But I couldn't feel it. He seemed to know every sensitive spot on my body, driving me to scratch my back until it was covered in marks. Could someone really know all your sensitive spots on the first try? I let out a moan. After a long while, he finally released me and cleaned me up. Sleep. I had barely dozed off when shouts erupted outside. The second young master has returned. The second young master has returned. The door rattled under the force of the knocking. Jingyan, I'm back. Come out and greet me. When Qingyan was pulled away, Wen Yansuan and I dressed quickly and headed to the flower hall. Wen Yansuan held me tightly around the waist, looking down at Wen Qingyan, whose eyes sparkled with joy. "Ian, come pay your respects to your elder sister-in-law." Wen Qingyan's eyes widened in disbelief as he stumbled back several steps. "No. Impossible. Qingyan, tell me he's lying. You are my legally wedded wife." I stared at Wen Qingyan, my hands suddenly clenched. I no longer felt the affection I once had for him. Now, I only felt utterly exhausted, as if crushed beneath a weight. My voice raspy, I spoke, "I am your elder sister-in-law, Uncle Wen." Those words severed the ties that once bound us. He seemed to lose all strength, his shoulders slumping. He kept murmuring, "Impossible. Impossible. You were the one I married. You are my wife, not his, not Wen Yanchuan's." He stood motionless, lips bitten white, eyes bloodshot and wild. In a fit of despair, he muttered to himself, "If only I'd returned sooner. Sooner." Thud. He collapsed unconscious. Chaos erupted in the room. "Quick, fetch the doctor." Wen Yanchuan helped me back inside. "Rest now. Someone's taking care of Qingyan." I leaned against his chest, tracing circles on his skin with my fingers. "Don't you mind? Marrying the woman who should have been your brother's wife." He captured my fingers, kissed them, his voice hoarse, not sleepy. "Do it again." I yawned sharply and found a comfortable spot to sleep. Since returning from my visit to my parents, we never slept apart again. Sharing his bed brought me peace and restful sleep. The next day, when Qingyan still hadn't regained consciousness, I heard he seemed trapped in a dream barrier, unable to awaken. Chu Xiaoxiao kept vigil by his side day and night. I only sent Qingxi to comfort her, choosing not to appear myself. Instead, Chu Xiaoxiao came alone, sobbing. I had just finished reviewing the accounts and was about to relax when she entered the room. Chu Xiaoxiao had grown noticeably thinner, her eyes and brows now tinged with worry, as if a breeze could carry her away. "May I have a cup of tea?" Her eyes were swollen from crying, still the same fragile appearance. "Sit." She sat across from me, her face full of envy. "You're truly remarkable." I understood her meaning, but I didn't need it. Seeing my silence, she snorted coldly. "Cui Jingyan clearly can't hold a candle to me in any way. Why does he like you? Is it just because of your status?" I poured the tea, my expression cold. "If you're going to say meaningless things here, you'd be better off going back to take care of your husband. After all, there's someone else in the house." That someone, of course, was Amber. I suppose Chu Xiaoxiao just found out her beloved slept with a maid who once worked in my quarters. One sentence silenced her sobs. Her face twisted, and she rose abruptly to leave. "What a pity. You still didn't marry him. The one who'll support him through life from now on will only be me." Qingxi trotted in from outside, unable to stifle her laughter. Passing Chu Xiaoxiao, she spat. "Madam, do you know why that wretch is so furious?" I looked at her. She lowered her voice and whispered in my ear. I heard from the servant who followed the second young master to find her that he wanted to return immediately after locating her. But Chu Xiaoxiao kept making a fuss, complaining of stomachaches and headaches. This enraged the second young master, and he scolded her harshly. I was stunned when Qingyan actually scolded her. She paused before adding, "And second young master fell ill with a fever on the journey, yet he refused to stop." That servant said he often saw second young master staring blankly at a triangular blue-green sash. Qiu Xiaoxiao, enraged, snatched it and threw it into the river. Second young master, heedless of danger, jumped in to retrieve it, then scolded Chu Xiaoxiao again, making her cry for a long time. I froze, remembering I had once embroidered a triangular green sachets and given it to him. What else? What other sachets? When Yanchuan's voice suddenly rang out, startling Qingxi. She curtsied and hurriedly ran off. He wrapped his arms around my waist and kissed my lips. "Did I just hear you embroidered a pouch for him?" The hand at my waist slowly tightened. I laughed, sensing his jealousy. "How about I make you undergarments myself then? Since the lady insists, I shall entrust all my private assets to her management." I paused for a moment, then smiled as I accepted the small box he offered. I hadn't expected his private assets to be so substantial. The first thing Wen Qingyan did upon waking was come looking for me. When Qingxi came to report his arrival, I remained calm. Just tell him I'm resting and won't see him. But he had already barged in, his eyes filled with panic, his figure noticeably thinner. Jingyan, if this is about Chu Xiao, I'll send her away immediately. You'll still be my wife, okay? I caught sight of his pale lips and sighed. Uncle, I am now your elder sister-in-law. If you wish to take her in, you may do so. Simply speak with mother-in-law. It has nothing to do with me. His expression was dazed as he kept repeating, nothing to do with me? Nothing to do with me? Ha ha ha, how could it not concern you? He stepped forward, gripping my wrist, his face etched with regret. I just wanted to teach you a lesson, to make you accept Xiao. It wasn't. A scalding tear fell onto the back of my hand. His illness hadn't fully healed, leaving him weak. I pushed him away effortlessly. Please show some restraint. Let's forget the past, Wen Qingyan. He tried to speak again, but his words felt like noise. Thankfully, when Yanchuan returned and ordered him back to his own quarters, I breathed a sigh of relief. A figure seemed to have stood at the doorway just now. I froze, suspecting Chu Xiao was eavesdropping. It's nothing. In the next breath, I caught a faint scent of blood. Noticing my expression, when Yanchuan explained, a stubborn case arrived at the Ministry of Justice. I'll bathe first and return shortly. Midnight. As when Yanchuan held me in his arms, fast asleep, a sudden commotion erupted outside. I was jolted awake. Qingxi rushed over to attend to us. Word was that trouble had erupted in the second young master's courtyard. By the time when Yanchuan and I arrived, Wen Qingyan seemed to be beating a half-naked Chu Xiao. You bitch! How dare you scheme against me? I froze. Chu Xiao, covered in bruises, sat slumped and sobbing. Yanjun, I didn't know. The wine was sent by Amber. I had no idea it was tainted. Believe me, I truly didn't know. Mother-in-law ordered servants to restrain Wen Qingyan, massaging her temples. Enough! Is this not shameful? The main wife hasn't even entered the household yet, so naturally no concubines would be taken. But now, you. Well, since this has happened, take Amber as a concubine too. Stop this commotion. Mother, she schemed against me. I never wanted to touch her. Go kneel in the ancestral hall for a day and reflect on your actions. Suddenly, a pitiful, resentful gaze fell upon me. I followed the direction of the look, it was Wen Qingyan. He quickly lowered his head, glaring fiercely at Chu Xiao at his feet. I immediately tugged Wen Yanchuan's sleeve and pulled him away, dreading Wen Qingyan might say something about me. Though my mother-in-law treated me kindly, if I caused discord between the brothers, she likely wouldn't continue her goodwill. When Yanchuan ruffled my hair and whispered, "What's wrong?" I shook my head, hesitating to speak. He chuckled softly. What happens between me and Ian is none of your concern. Besides, I insisted on marrying you. If anything goes wrong, it's my fault. I'll handle it myself. You needn't worry. I steadied my nerves, took his hand, and murmured a soft om-hom. The next day, when Qingyan hastily took 2 new concubines, my mother-in-law was so enraged she fell ill, handing over all household authority to me. While tending to her medicine, I managed the estate. Between my dowry shops and Wen Yanchuan's private holdings, I was swamped, barely finding time for him. He seemed slightly resentful, requiring daily reassurance from me. Just as I finished instructing the housekeeper and was about to return to the study to review the ledgers, Amber, her eyes red, threw herself to her knees before me, visibly thinner. Miss. Qingxi rolled her eyes, her voice laced with sarcasm. Auntie, you've called the wrong person. You should be calling the doctor. Her expression shifted as she shifted her kneeling position closer to me. Madam, I beg you, for the sake of my past service to you, please save me. Concubine Chu torments me daily, and my husband pays me no mind. I have no choice but to come to you. I was about to speak, when Qingyan approached with measured steps, his expression a mix of joy and worry. Jingyan, it was all her seduction that forced me. I cut him off. Uncle, this is a matter within your household. I should not interfere. Please handle it yourself. He murmured to himself, what did you call me? Uncle? A wave of disgust washed over me. If I had truly married him, who knows how he would have tormented me. Uncle. He reached for my hand, his expression filled with regret. Jingyan, won't you forgive me? I took a step back, my voice cold. I am now your elder sister-in-law. I've long forgotten the past. After all, it was your elder brother who married me. When Jingyan, give up that hope. I turned and walked away. Behind me, Amber wailed, Mistress, please save me. My husband is selling me out of the estate. Miss. My pace didn't falter. Later, I heard Amber wasn't sold after all. She and Chu Xiaoxiao spent their days in the courtyard, trading veiled insults and curses. When Yanchuan was about to depart for Yuzhou on official business, I embroidered the character for a year on the cuffs of the undergarments I'd made, packed them, and handed them to him. The journey will be arduous. Take care of yourself. Remember to write when you arrive. He clasped my hand. I love all of these. With that, he pinned a white jade hairpin adorned with floral carvings into my hair. It complements you beautifully. My cheeks flushed instantly. Stay safe. He tapped my nose gently. Don't worry. I'll write as soon as I reach Yuzhou. If anything uncertain arises at home, send me an urgent message. As soon as Wen Yanchuan departed, I went to the White Pagoda Temple to pray for his safety. After offering incense and prayers, the temple's abbot called out to me. Devotee, do you wish to retrieve the sutra you left here for veneration? Amit Ba. This monk discovered this sutra is from an extinct edition. Coincidentally, a family came seeking this very scroll. Might I inquire if you would grant this favor? I paused, startled. I hadn't realized when Jingyan had given me an extinct sutra. I smiled, Abbot, I no longer need it. Please give it to someone who does. In that case, I shall borrow it and return it shortly. I nodded. Turning, I saw Wen Jingyan standing behind me, his eyes brimming with tears. His face wore a pleading expression, his voice trembling uncontrollably. Jingyan, do you truly no longer care for me? I neither care for you nor need you, Wen Jingyan. He refused to believe it, dazed and flustered, staring straight at me, searching my face for any trace of lingering emotion. But my heart was calm, I had long since let go. Jingyan, I was wrong. Please forgive me? I only wanted to teach you a small lesson, I didn't mean to. Wen Jingyan, you needn't say more. I truly have let it go. Please stop clinging to me, lest we both suffer further embarrassment. His pupils instantly contracted, as if stunned by my words. He raised his hands to grab me, but I had already dodged. Jingyan, I'm the one who wronged you. I can send Amber and the others away. We can start fresh, just the two of us. Please? His expression of regret only irritated me further. Get out of my way. You disgust me. His face drained of color, and he stumbled back. But you loved me most, didn't you? You did. If I'd returned sooner, you would have married me. I scoffed. Marry you? I'd still be tempted to stray. As I turned away, he collapsed to his knees, utterly broken. Jingyan, But I was already gone. Days later, I received a letter from Wen Yanchuan. He wrote that he was well, but it would take at least several months to return. I sighed, staring blankly at his letter, suddenly feeling a pang of longing for him. Qingxi rushed over, interrupting my thoughts. Madam, there's trouble in the second young master's courtyard again. I frowned. Qingxi lowered her voice. The second young master brought back an orphan girl from outside. An orphaned girl? Did you see her? She nodded. She bears a 5-part resemblance to you, madam. The second young master was dead drunk, muttering your maiden name. Shall I take a look? There's quite a commotion in the courtyard. I shook my head, send word to the mother-in-law. We must not interfere in this matter. After Qingxi left, I immediately wrote a letter to Wen Yanchuan. I should have gone to find him myself. But I kept it to myself, wanting to give him a little surprise. Mother-in-law was so upset she had headaches for days, summoning me to her. Mother. I curtsied and sat beside her. She sipped her tea with irritation. Qing Yan is of marriageable age. I called you to ask about the character of noble young ladies in the capital. I lowered my eyes. Mother-in-law, the families you consider are naturally the finest. Yanchuan wrote to say urgent matters in Yuzhou require my presence. Mother, I shall depart for Yuzhou in a few days. All household affairs must rely on you. She pondered for a moment, her expression softening slightly. Since Yanchuan needs you, go. I can manage the household for a while longer. It's just Qing Yan. Mother will find a suitable match. Uncle Wen is a fine young man, certainly an excellent match. I am tired. You may retire. Several days later, I packed my belongings and prepared for the journey to Yuzhou. In Wen Qingyan's courtyard, Amber and Chu Xiaoxiao seemed to be secretly sabotaging each other, causing constant uproar. Wen Qingyan avoided them altogether by staying out and not returning to the manor. After I arrived in Yuzhou, a letter came from the Wen household saying Wen Qingyan had been beaten nearly to death and was still bedridden. I found it somewhat amusing. When Yanchuan frowned slightly, this isn't my concern. He brought it upon himself. I couldn't agree more. He wrapped his arm around my waist. Yuzhou isn't like the capital. If anything troubles you, tell me. You once mentioned wanting plum wine. I've already planted green plums in the courtyard. I'll brew it when the time comes. You won't blame me for coming to see you without permission? A faint smile touched his lips as he hooked my little finger. Your coming to me fills my heart with joy. He produced a small porcelain bottle. This ointment removes scars. From now on, I'll apply it for you every day. I gazed at him with complex emotions, my heart suddenly trembling. Saying I don't care would be a lie. I still can't forget how I looked at myself in the mirror after the scar formed, filled with sorrow, or Cui Jingsui's mocking face when she called me disfigured. I wrapped my arms around his neck. Thank you, Wen Yanchuan. I love everything. And those two in his courtyard, Amber and Chu Xiaoxiao. I know all about them. You can just laugh it off, neither of them is any good. Wen Yanchuan feared I'd grow bored, so he often took me out. Whenever we met acquaintances, he'd introduce me, this is my wife. From initial shyness and discomfort with my new role, I gradually grew confident and poised. Until 2 days later, while out shopping, I suddenly fainted. When I woke, Wen Yanchuan held my hand tightly. I'm fine. Probably just fainted from hunger. He smiled as he embraced me. Jingyan, we're having a baby. My mind was still foggy. But he was unnaturally calm. I've already thought of several names for the child. You can decide later. Rest here in Yuzhou and take care of yourself. Once things settle, we'll return. If you don't wish to see Qingyan, I'll draft a letter requesting my mother to divide the household and establish an independent residence. What do you think? Sounds good. I clasped his hand tightly, my heart brimming with warmth and joy. Side story, the first thing Wen Yanchuan did after his rebirth was to seek out Cui Jingyan. He learned she was already betrothed to his younger brother. To curry favor with the Wen family, her father had unilaterally sent Cui Jingyan to the ancestral hall for reflection. That place was unguarded. He recalled Cui Jingyan once telling him how she'd been sent to the ancestral home, chased by thugs, and to protect her honor, she'd thrown herself off a cliff. By sheer luck, she'd landed on a crooked tree branch and survived. With that in mind, Wen Yanchuan spurred his horse to the Cui family ancestral home. Night had fallen, and the ancestral hall was silent. A wave of dread washed over Wen Yanchuan. He drew his sword and raced up the rear mountain. Not far away, 2 men were chasing Cui Jingyan. His heart clenched. He sprinted forward, his sword striking down both men. Blood splattered onto his outer robe. Cui Jingyan stood there, hair disheveled, sobbing helplessly. His heart ached, urging him to pull her into his arms. But Cui Jingyan didn't recognize him. Her voice muffled and hoarse, she mumbled thanks, wiping tears from her face as her body trembled. He watched her, both relieved and overjoyed. At least this time, she hadn't fallen off the cliff. Cui Jingyan had once nestled in his arms and confided that although she had survived the fall, it had left a scar on her back. Every time when Qingyan saw it, he would complain that the scar was ugly, like a centipede. She felt sad and couldn't refute him, her whole face flushing crimson with embarrassment. But he had kissed that scar countless times, telling her, "Jingyan, this scar is like a flower, it's exceptionally beautiful." His cool lips lightly kissed her burning spine. Cui Jingyan trembled all over, biting her lip to stifle a muffled groan. When she snapped back to reality, when Yanchuan had safely escorted her down the mountain but remained on the rooftop, refusing to leave. Not until when Qingyan came to see Cui Jingyan, and her heart and eyes were filled only with Wen Qingyan's image. He drank himself into a stupor, thinking he must seize her for himself, never repeating past mistakes. When Yanchuan knew Cui Jingyan's life after marrying Wen Qingyan had been miserable. She swallowed her grievances alone, visibly wasting away. When she met him, she timidly called out, "Brother." He sneered, looking at the pitiful young girl with secret contempt, harboring unthinkable thoughts toward his own brother's wife. She should have married him. What was Wen Qingyan anyway? After rebirth, he schemed to have Chu Xiaoxiao betrothed to a widower, forcing Wen Qingyan to flee on their wedding day. He took his place. Holding the hand of the girl he'd longed for, his face expressionless, a smile slipped onto his lips. Joy welled up from his heart. Cui Jingyan married him, Wen Yanchuan. This time, he would cherish her for a lifetime. After the wedding ceremony, when Yanchuan drank several cups of wine, his gaze frequently drifting toward the courtyard. "I wonder if Jingyan is hungry." After 3 rounds of wine, when Yanchuan hurried back to the bridal chamber. Cui Jingyan had already removed her veil and sat by the bed. He feigned composure as he approached her. Cui Jingyan's eyes were strikingly bright, her lips curved in a faint smile, yet her gaze was vacant, tinged with confusion. To prevent her from sending him away, when Yanchuan hastily declared he would stay the night, avoiding any lingering glances for fear of giving himself away. After he lay down on the daybed pretending to sleep, Cui Jingyan tiptoed in, finding the situation rather amusing. Moonlight streamed through the window, bathing the room. After a long while, he finally heard Cui Jingyan's steady breathing. He approached the bed. Cui Jingyan lay curled up beneath the brocade quilt, her brows slightly furrowed, seemingly still troubled by Wen Qingyan's elopement. He took her warm hand in his and kissed her lips. She was finally his wife. When Yanchuan recalled the first time he had seen Cui Jingyan. She was playing by the river, laughing and chatting with her maidservant. Her reflection danced on the water's surface with the ripples, instantly brightening his gloomy mood. After learning her identity, he suppressed the flutter in his heart. Yet, from then on, Wen Yanchuan's gaze would always find its way to Cui Jingyan without him realizing it. From morning greetings to chance encounters during strolls in the estate, until she was framed by Chu Xiaoxiao and wept until her eyes were red and broken. He felt inexplicable tenderness, suddenly realizing his feelings for her had changed. He actively closed the distance between them. When she requested help finding her lost belongings, he used it as an excuse to send her hairpins, brocades, and silks. Items purchased during his investigations were promptly given to her. She seemed to sense their growing closeness had crossed a line and began avoiding him. On several occasions, she turned and walked away the moment she saw him approaching. His fingers curled inside his sleeves. Under cover of night, while Cui Jingyan was strolling by the rock garden in her courtyard. When Yanchuan seized Cui Jingyan's wrist. Startled, her face paled slightly as she murmured timidly, "Brother?" He chuckled softly. "Cui Jingyan, divorce me." Cui Jingyan froze, taking a half-step back. "No. I can't." If she divorced him, she'd lose her value. Her father would surely abandon her, and her mother would be powerless. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I'll marry you." A cool fingertip brushed her eyelid. "Cui Jingyan, I'll marry you." A promise spanning 2 lifetimes. When Yanchuan suddenly recalled the line, "Never forsaking the green mountains, we shall walk together through life." The end.